Trump is mad because his Canadian show brutally mocks him. Check out this video.
Everyone knows I love kids, like Don Jr. and one of the girls. So I wrote a book about the lying liars who write about me. Here it is. Quiet, piggy, just like I yelled on the plane, quite frankly. Let's begin. These swine called reporters, they drive me insane. Who let these farm animals onto my plane? They ask about Epstein, I say it's no biggie. Then they press me again and I say, quiet, piggy. That's the book title, kids. Try and keep up. Then they look at my hair and they say it's a wig. And it's as real as my tan. Once again, shut up, pig. Quiet, piggy, shut up, pig. It's the same thing, quite frankly. Let me drink my Diet Coke. Watch me take a big swiggy while I think about how I can pardon P. Diddy. He got a bum rap, and we're doing everything we can. We're talking to some very good people. So get off my plane, make your way to the crates. I've got things to acquire like the 51st state. Or maybe just Alberta. It's the one with the oil. It's the only one you want, to be frank. Shut up, pig. Why don't you try it? Quiet, piggy. Piggy, be quiet. Any questions? Go ahead.
This book sucks.
Silence, hog!
Quiet Piggy, the new book by President Donald Trump. For kids?
Shut up, you pigs. You're all pigs. Quite frankly, you're pig, you're pig, you're big piggy, you're the piggiest. You're all...
President Trump said...
What now? What did he say?
President Trump said the United States invented everything.
I can't. He's so egotistical. He's so unhinged.
Oh my God, my stomach hurts.
Hello, former and future President Trump here. Who's calling?
Mr. President, it's Justin.
Justin who?
Justin Trudeau. You know, handsome, cool socks, brown face.
Need more.
The Canadian Prime Minister.
Please hold.
Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the...
Okay, Justin, make it quick. Let a big-time leader is calling to congratulate me. The President of Italy, the Pope, is calling. And I'm expecting a call from the Prime Minister of Liechtenstein, so start licking my stern.
I'm calling to congratulate you on behalf of the Canadian people. I mean, mostly the ones that don't like me. But we're neighbors. We should act like that. We could get an American beer together, or as we call it, water.
Welcome back to Liquor Steak. Today we are looking at something Canadians never get tired of: roasting Donald Trump. Across Canadian news, comedy shows, podcasts, and even street interviews, one message keeps coming up: this guy is not normal. Guys, we are mixing different clips, including the viral satire about Trump as functional children's book, Quiet Piggy. Canadians use humor to talk about serious issues like trade deal, media fights, and Trump unpredictable behavior. Let's break it all down.
Hi, Donald, a Canadian woman here. I see what you did to Jasmine Mooney. You detained her, you humiliated her, and you terrorized her. I, along with millions of other Canadian women, will not stand for it. You think you know Canada. You throw out names like Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky. Sure, they're great hockey players, but so too are Hayley Wickenheiser and Marie-Philip Poulain. And while we're at it, Canada's a soccer nation too. Christine Sinclair isn't just Canada's best soccer player, she's the best in the world. Arts and entertainment, we have Margaret Atwood, Celine Dion, and Sandra Oh. Now, somebody you may not have heard of is Viola Desmond. Viola kicked off her shoes and the first civil rights movement in all of North America. She was Rosa Parks before there was a Rosa Parks. And I want to remind you of Nicola Goddard. She was the first woman in the Canadian forces to die in combat. And Donald, she died fighting in Afghanistan, supporting American troops against the very terrorists who attacked your soil on 9/11. We are accomplished and kind. But Donald, we also make big decisions. Did you know that Canadian women account for 75% of all consumer spending in Canada? Canadian women have a $1.2 trillion influence on our economy. We choose the vacations, we pick the brands, and we invest in the future. But here's the thing, Donald. We don't invest in bullies. And Donald, don't forget, we've been here before. Laura Secord, a woman with no title, no army, no backing, walked 30 kilometers through enemy lines to warn British forces of an American attack. Donald, a Canadian woman defeated you in the War of 1812, and Canadian women are her legacy. So, before you come for Canadian women again, remember this, Donald. We forgive, but we do not forget.
So the press secretary for the White House just said this.
In Quebec, the highest tax rate for an income of $150,000 or more is 53.3%. More than half of Canadians' incomes they are being taxed on. So the president has made it clear that he believes Canadians would be better served economically, militarily, if they were to become the 51st state of the United States of America.
All right, first of all, it's not Quebec, it's Quebec, okay? Then, you know, even if I usually post in French, I'll make an exception today because first, that's the only language you understand. And second, I want your people to hear it. So it is false to say that Quebecers send more than 50% of their money in taxes to the government. As it is false to say that Canada is paying for Trump tariffs, by the way. Canada's not paying the tariffs. American customers are paying the tariffs, you dummy. Now, regarding the taxes, it is only the revenues made over $254,000 that are taxed at 53%. The effective tax rate is closer to 39%, with millions of Quebecers that don't pay any taxes, in fact receiving tax credits and allocations from the government instead. And spoiler, a very few of our millionaires are paying 53% taxes because they can afford good tax lawyers and corporate structure. Now let me show you something, guys. This is a state-of-the-art prosthesis. I use that every day to walk, to play hockey, for biking and boxing. It's worth many $1,000s. How much exactly? I have no clue. Why is that? Because I didn't pay a single penny for it. It was all provided by our government publicly funded healthcare, and this was absolutely free for me. I also went to one of the top law schools in the country for $3,000 or $4,000 a year. I send my kids to daycare for $8 a day. Electricity here in Montreal is 7 times cheaper than it is in New York. And also, we're not afraid to send our children to school every day, fearing mass shootings because of strict gun control laws. So you know what? Maybe one day we'll decide to pay less taxes, higher tuition fees, and higher healthcare costs. Maybe, because choice is what democracy is all about. But this choice will come from us and not from you. So hands off our democracy. Stop it with the 51st state bullshit talk. This is never going to happen because we won't roll over. We'll stand up and we'll fight. Elbows up, just like at a hockey game. And how did it end up last time we played hockey? You know that, right? Now I want to say a few words to our friends south of the border. I know we have a lot of allies. Millions of you are in disbelief, are in shock, are afraid. But now let me tell you this. We, north of the border, are fighting the tyrant you elected as president. What are you doing for your country? What are you doing for your democracy? When will you speak out and stand up for it? Because if you don't do it now, my friends, you might not get another chance.
What is your message to Donald Trump, Charlie Angus?
Well, Donald, what, you had to bring a guy from the Russian state media in to watch you try and beat up President Zelensky, and you thought that would make you look good? It made you look like the crook and the cheap hood that you are. It sickened us in our stomachs, but I've been talking to people all over the world who are sickened in their stomachs by what you tried to pull off. Zelensky is a man that you will never be in a million years. He's a genuine hero. So, Donald, where are you going to go with this? Are you going to continue to be the puppet and the bootlicker of Vladimir Putin, another criminal, a guy whose economy isn't 1/5 or 1/10 of what the United States is? Is that what you're going to give up? Because the rest of the world understands now very clearly who you are, and we understand who heroes are, and you're not one of
I'm in Canada, and Donald Trump just posted this photo. We're going to ask Canadians what they think about this photo.
I've never met the man. So what do I think about the media reports of him, or what do I think of him? What are you asking me?
What do you think about this photo?
Looks AI created, so I have no opinion on what AI is thinking when it creates something like that.
What do you think about Trump saying he's going to put a 25% tariff on Canada?
Believe everything that every politician says?
No, I don't, but
So
I'm just
again,
wondering what you...
For me, a lot of it is about media. A lot of people have opinions. A lot of people need to express their opinions, argue, to say your opinion doesn't count. Everybody's got an opinion going on in here. And until we can listen to each other, the way a real debate goes, we as a species will never get beyond these points. War, opinion, let's cancel this person, let's kill that, let's hate this man. His actions may not be good, but I don't know the man. So until we can stop just fighting because some image came and somebody's going to kill somebody because they drew a picture of Muhammad or an AI or Trump said, if that's what we're reacting to, then we're following the wrong things. We should listen to each other. A lot of people have opinions, but hopefully listening to other people's opinions will mean a little bit.
In the clips, you can see how Canadians mix comedy, news, and street reaction to show one thing. They think Trump is simply not normal politician. It starts with the satire of functional children's book, what they call Quite Piggy, where he tells reporter, Quite Piggy, whenever they ask about Epstein oil deal, all his appearance, but the joke fit perfectly with Canadians already see him. News commentator say reaction emotionally. Regular people in the street interview call him unpredictable. And comedian exaggerate his behavior because it already feel like reality show. Even the idea of him wanting to pardon pedophilia, all dreaming of Alberta to be one of the states controlled by USA for its oil just add to humor. Because to Canadians, these are exactly the kind of wild and realistic idea they expect from him. Put together all these clips show why so many people in Canada laughing about Trump. They criticize him and shake their head because, everything he says is chaotic, dramatic, and nothing like normal reader from Mr. Donald Trump. News commentator say reaction emotionally. Regular people in the street interview call him unpredictable. And comedian exaggerate his behavior because it already feel like reality show. Even the idea of him wanting to pardon pedophilia, all dreaming of Alberta to be one of the states controlled by USA for its oil just add to humor. Because to Canadians, these are exactly the kind of wild and realistic idea they expect from him. Put together all these clips show why so many people in Canada laughing about Trump. They criticize him and shake their head because, everything he says is chaotic, dramatic, and nothing like normal reader from Mr. Donald Trump.
So the Canadian Prime Minister came to the White House to meet with Trump. And one of the reporters in the room asked about Trump's claims to make Canada the 51st state. And the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, basically said, "Fuck no, you orange demon. Canada's not for sale, ever."
I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can.
Well, we've got some breaking news. You know how incoming president and 34-time convicted felon who will be sentenced on Friday, Donald Trump, has been talking about making Canada the 51st state? Well, the premier of Ontario, a man by the name of Doug Ford, and by the way, those of you who voted for Donald Trump, Ontario is in Canada, which is the country to our north. Anyway, Doug Ford made Donald Trump a counteroffer. He said, how about this? How about we buy Alaska and Minnesota? Ford made clear that at least he, as Premier of Ontario, has absolutely no desire whatsoever to become part of the United States. And basically that Donald Trump can go F himself. That's the way you do it, and that is how everyone else should deal with Donald Trump. Tell this man to go F himself.
Canada is pissed off at Donald Trump and the United States right now because of their proposed 25% tariff on things coming to the United States. And in an announcement just today, their Prime Minister Trudeau gave Trump some words. Trudeau says our responsibility is to point out that he would not only be harming Canadians who work so well with the United States, but he would actually be raising prices for American citizens as well, hurting the American industry and business. Trudeau even pointed it out by saying that the United States buys potatoes from us. A bag of potatoes under Trump would cost 25% more than it does right now because most of your potatoes, especially in this time of year, are coming from us. Not everything, not all the potatoes you get are coming from the United States. And well, Canada is so pissed off at Trump that now they're examining things that they sell to the United States that they can slap tariffs on to try to make things even. So imagine 60% of U.S. crude oil imports are from Canada, and 85% of U.S. electricity imports are from Canada. Expect for those to go up in price. And let's also remember that most of our steel, aluminum, and uranium also comes from Canada. So if Trump moves forward with this 20% tariff here, the tariff on China, and kicking out a lot of people out of this country, we're going to have a recession on another level never seen before. Well, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below, and be sure to follow me for more.
Canadian conservatives, I got some unsolicited advice for you, the type you're not going to like, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. You know what you sound like every time you say it's Trump's fault why Pierre lost? Do you know what you sound like every time you say it's Trump's fault why Pierre Poilievre lost? And not only did he lose the prime minister, but he lost his seat that he's held since 2004. That is embarrassing. Each time you say that, you sound like the 51st state of the United States of America. You validate Trump's points, why you need him. You validate why you see him as your head of state. So you're blaming the president for your governor losing in Canada. It is embarrassing, because if you did not even view it that way, you would never even bring up the point. You would never say it's Trump's fault. You wouldn't, because you're your own country. Who the hell that loses an election in a country where the opposing political parties' policies were so exposed the last 4 years during COVID that every country around the world knew how shitty things were in Canada. And you still didn't know how to make it win. You still didn't know how to win. And you lose your parliament. And you guys all acted like he was going to win and it was going to be a landslide victory. But no, it's Trump's fault. Of course, it's Trump's fault. No, it's Trump's fault. Because we view ourselves as the 51st state. Please, don't think I'm talking about every conservative in Canada. I'm specifically talking to the fanboy of Pierre Poilievre conservatives that were so convinced that this whole thing was going to be done. And all these other critics, you guys are such terrible critics and unfair. He's such a great man. I don't care how great of a man and a husband he is. The market doesn't give handouts of prime minister to great men and women. They give it to winners. You either win or you don't. They don't give it to victims, crybabies. It's not fair. It's Trump's fault. That is so unattractive. But you lost in a big way. And you handed it over to the guy that came up with the economic policies of Justin Trudeau. I don't know, again, I keep saying this, if I've seen anything more embarrassing than this. But stop blaming Trump for your loss. You sound like the 51st state every time you say that. That's all I think about when I hear everybody blame Trump for Canada losing. You are the 51st state. Or else act like you have your own country and stop whining about another country's.
So when you bring all this Canadian reaction together, the satire, the interviews, the comedy, and the commentator, the picture, it's clear Canada doesn't view Trump as a regular politician at all. They see someone unpredictable, emotional, and always in conflict with the media. What do you think about that? If you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure you write, comment, and you know what, do subscribe to Licastic. Let me know what you think in the comment. Are Canadian being too hard, or they are just telling the truth in their own fun way? So guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. So when you bring all this Canadian reaction together, the satire, the interviews, the comedy, and the commentator, the picture, it's clear Canada doesn't view Trump as a regular politician at all. They see someone unpredictable, emotional, and always in conflict with the media. What do you think about that? If you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure you write, comment, and you know what, do subscribe to Licastic. Let me know what you think in the comment. Are Canadian being too hard, or they are just telling the truth in their own fun way? So guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.